I would get up early, you know, and drink my coffee and watch TV and see what went on for the day or during the night when I slept. I was expecting to hear any minute now, you know, that victories, troops are coming home, you know, like stuff like that. And of course, you know, you want to hear about the worst things, you know, you want to make sure nobody was killed that day, or what area they were in, if I had any idea where Brian was and things like that. Yeah, I watched a lot of news, but eventually, I mean, I had to stop. I was working and I was sitting around in my house. Those are the only two things I did. I'd sit and I'd wait for him to call, or I'd work. I had friends that were trying to be supportive, and they were trying to be encouraging and just telling me that it wasn't healthy the way I was living. And I know in retrospect that it wasn't, but at the same time, you know, they were encouraging me to, you know, not get on with my life, but to, you know, do other things, to hang out with them. Hey baby, I'm almost afraid to write since the last I heard you weren't getting anything I've sent. I can't wait until our communication gap has been resolved. That has been, besides my fear, the worst part of all of this. I have not for 1 second forgot about you or what you are doing right now and how important it is. Please think of me often and the wonderful times that lie ahead in the near future. I'll be writing you tomorrow, if just to let you know how Easter went. Be careful, come home soon. Love you, miss you, hope you miss me. Forever, Larissa.
The way we went north is the Marines would go, secure an area, pull 270-degree security, and we'd kind of fill in the circle. They'd go up, secure an area, we'd fill in the circle. They'd go up, secure an area, we'd fill in the circle. So that's kind of how they did it. They'd, you know, go through, clear the route, and we just fill the circle.
And it was a really good organized system, I think, because what would happen is in the mornings you'd hear the M1 Abrams tanks fire up, real distinct sound. You know, and right maybe like an hour before daybreak or so, or right at dawn, they would take off and they would go down the city, you know, go down the road, and a little bit later you'd see the Amtraks. They're the Marine amphibious troop carriers. They're, you know, they have light armor on them, and they would go down. And what the Amtraks would do is they'd go pull off to the sides of the roads and disperse the infantry, and they would go clear the buildings. Then, you know, the rest of the column would come up. Then the next morning, the same thing would happen again. In the military, anytime you hear like 3 clanks, metal on metal, 3 loud horn bursts or whatever, that's a gas alert. Well, I had a radio in my vehicle, and I just hear, gas, gas, gas. And, you know, weapons of mass destruction. I don't think I've ever cleared and sealed my mask as fast as I did that day. I'm sitting there and I had it ready, flap undone at all times. I just came up with both hands. I already had it rehearsed what I was going to do. I knocked my glasses off, and I cleared and sealed my mask. And the guy next to me, he's kind of freaking out a little bit, and I'm like, I told him, I said, roll up the windows. He's like, what? I was like, roll up your window. So he's like, why? I said, it's a gas alert. So he rolls up his windows, and he's just sitting there. I'm like, you're supposed to toot your horn 3 times. Like, lay on the air horn. He goes, why? I said, to let everyone else know.
We was told whenever we go, to be careful because of women dressing up, women and men dressing up, and, don't let them get too close. Don't take anything from them because, it might be a bomb disguised as anything. And even down to kids. So we was going through there, and we had stopped, and this family was out there, and the parents and the older kids had went inside. Well, they was going back and forth, and there's a few kids outside playing, and I remember this one child, it's coming over towards the vehicle. Of course, they had one of their vehicles in between the house and where we were at. And I was just praying that they would stop at that house, because, you know, having kids of my own and not knowing what to expect, it was. But luckily the child did stop at the car, and we went on, and nothing happened. They were, for as I know, they were all okay.
I know there were periods where we went 36 to 48 hours with absolutely no sleep. Because of the situations that we were in and the fact that we were with an infantry division right up in the front, there were rarely any opportunities for any type of sleep. As we were taking over the cities, the Marines, and the areas were becoming relatively secure, at times we would have to set up perimeters, digging our trenches, and we would have shifts, hour on, hour off, maybe getting some sleep, but you know, very difficult to sleep again in those conditions. So sleep became something that it was very precious after a while if you got to get some sleep. As the body goes longer without sleep, certain parts of the body tend to break down. Your motor skills have a tendency to go. Your mind starts becoming worn. You think, especially in a situation like that, you think that you see things that aren't really there. Things may be there that you don't see clearly. So it's a very difficult state to be in. For anybody who goes with a bad night's sleep and maybe they get 6 hours and say, I hardly got any sleep last night, in a situation like that, we may have got a total of 6 hours of sleep in a week. So you can imagine how the minds were working. We were very stressed, very scared, and without the proper rest, it was difficult to function and difficult to think and act and perform at times. Yeah, it was. But again, the intensity of the situation, the adrenaline that was flowing, that is what enabled us to continue to do what we had to do.
The decision had been made exactly where to do it. They had called our commander, and I had went with him to take him to the meeting. It was about midnight the night before. 09, they wanted to have a bridge in the water, and gave us the grid coordinates and that kind of thing. We went back and we actually briefed the platoon sergeant at like 2 in the morning.
They came with the word that all the squad leaders needed to meet the platoon sergeant at his vehicle at 3 a.m. And by about 3:40 in the morning, we're on the road rolling.
Because once this bridge is crossed, it's a straight shot into Baghdad. Basically, when you're on the other side of the river, it's welcome to Baghdad.
To purchase DVDs of this program, go to wvpubcast.org and click on Outlook.
From West Virginia Public Broadcasting.